Have you ever felt like every door in your life was slamming shut? Like no matter how hard you knocked, no matter how much you tried, the opportunities you desperately needed just wouldn't open? Maybe you've been applying for jobs with no response. Perhaps you've been praying for a breakthrough in your relationships, your finances, or your health, and all you've seen is delay after delay. But what if I told you that right now, in this very moment, God is opening a door for you that no human force, no circumstance, and no enemy can shut? What if the rejection you faced yesterday was God's divine protection, steering you away from the wrong door so He could position you in front of the right one? Today, I want to share with you a truth that will shift your perspective and ignite your faith. This isn't just motivational talk. This is biblical truth backed by the power of God's unchanging word. Stay with me, because by the end of this message, you're going to see your situation completely differently. 1. The divine promise. Let me take you to one of the most powerful passages in Scripture. In Revelation chapter 3, verse 8, Jesus speaks to the church in Philadelphia, and his words echo through time to reach you today. I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Did you catch that? God himself is the one opening the door. And when God opens a door, it doesn't matter who tries to close it. It doesn't matter if your enemies conspire against you. It doesn't matter if the odds are stacked impossibly high. When God opens a door, it stays open. This is the same God who opened the Red Sea when the Israelites had nowhere to go. This is the God who opened prison doors for Peter while he was sleeping in chains. This is the God who opened heaven itself and sent his Son to open the door of salvation for all humanity. Your God specializes in opening doors. He doesn't need a key. He doesn't need permission. He doesn't need the approval of gatekeepers or the influential people. He simply speaks and doors swing open. But here's what makes this promise even more powerful. Notice that Jesus says, I have placed before you an open door. This is present tense, not I will open or I might open. He has already opened it. The door is already there. Your breakthrough has already been set in motion. The provision you need has already been released. The healing, restoration, the opportunity you've been praying for, God has already opened that door. 2. Why some doors must close. Now, I need to address something crucial because many of you have experienced closed doors, and it's been painful. You've knocked on doors that wouldn't open. You've pursued opportunities that slipped through your fingers. You've invested in relationships that fell apart, and it hurt. But can I tell you something that might change how you see those closed doors? Sometimes God closes doors to protect you. Sometimes rejection is God's divine protection in action. Think about Jonah. God closed the door on his plan to run away to Tarshish. Jonah ended up in the belly of a fish, and from the outside, it looked like disaster. But that closed door and that uncomfortable detour were exactly what Jonah needed to get back on track with God's real plan for his life. Consider Joseph. His brothers sold him into slavery. That door to his comfortable life in his father's house was violently slammed shut. He was thrown into prison for a crime he didn't commit. Another door closed. But every closed door was positioning him to the palace. Every rejection was moving him toward his divine appointment. What looked like the end was actually the setup for his greatest chapter. The door that closed in your face last month might have been God saving you from something that would have derailed your destiny. That job you didn't get might have been God protecting you from a toxic environment. That relationship that ended might have been God removing someone who would have stunted your growth. Stop mourning closed doors and start trusting the God who controls them. He's not being cruel, he's being strategic. He sees what you can't see. He knows what you don't know, and he loves you too much to let you settle for a door that looks good but leads to the wrong destination. So, how do you recognize when God is opening a door for you? Because let me be honest, sometimes God's open doors don't look like we expect them to look. When God opened a door for David, it came through a giant. Imagine that. David went to the battlefield just to deliver food to his brothers, and there stood Goliath, a door of opportunity disguised as an impossible challenge. While everyone else saw an obstacle, David saw an opening. He saw a chance to demonstrate God's power, to step into his calling, to move from shepherd boy to national hero. Your open door might not come with a red carpet and a brass band. It might come as an uncomfortable conversation you need to have. It might come as a step of faith that requires you to leave your comfort zone. It might come through what looks like a setback, but is actually a setup. Here are some signs that God is opening a door for you. First, there's a persistent stirring in your spirit. You can't shake the feeling that something is about to change. There's a holy restlessness that won't let you settle where you are. That's not anxiety, that's anticipation. That's God preparing your heart for what He's about to do. Second, unexpected favor starts showing up. Suddenly, people are reaching out to you. Conversations are happening that wouldn't normally happen. Resources are appearing that you didn't arrange. When favor shows up without you manipulating or orchestrating it, that's God opening doors behind the scenes. Third, there's a supernatural peace about a decision that doesn't make sense on paper. Maybe it's a job opportunity that pays less but feels right. Maybe it's a move to a new city that disrupts your comfortable routine. When God opens a door, He also gives you peace about walking through it, even when the logic doesn't line up perfectly. Fourth, your gifts and calling are aligning with the opportunity. God doesn't open random doors. He opens doors that are connected to your purpose. If you've been faithful in developing your gifts, and suddenly a door opens where those exact gifts are needed, that's not coincidence, that's God. Finally, there's opposition. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but hear me. When God opens a significant door, the enemy panics. Suddenly you might face attacks, discouragement, or obstacles that weren't there before. That's because the enemy can see what God is about to do in your life, and he's desperate to stop you from walking through that open door. Don't let opposition convince you that you're on the wrong path. Sometimes opposition is confirmation that you're on exactly the right path. Section 4. Testimonies of Open Doors, 12 to 16 minutes. Let me share some powerful testimonies of how God has opened doors for people just like you. There's a woman I know who was stuck in a dead-end job for years. She applied for promotion after promotion and was passed over every single time. She felt invisible, unappreciated, and forgotten. But she kept showing up. She kept being faithful. She kept praying. One day, completely out of the blue, she received a call from a company she had interviewed with 2 years prior. They said the position they had originally filled hadn't worked out, and they had kept her resume all this time. They offered her the job with double the salary and more responsibility than she had even dared to pray for. That's God opening a door that had been sealed for the right timing. I think about a young man who felt called to ministry but kept facing rejection. Churches wouldn't hire him. Seminary applications were denied. He felt like God had given him a calling but closed every door to fulfill it. In his frustration, he started a small Bible study in his apartment with just 3 friends. Within a year, that Bible study had grown to over 100 people. Within 3 years, they had planted a church that's now impacting thousands. The doors he wanted God to open would have limited him. The door God opened exceeded his wildest dreams. There's another testimony of a couple who had been trying to have a baby for 8 years. They faced disappointment after disappointment. They spent their savings on fertility treatments that didn't work. They were about to give up when they received a call about a baby who needed to be adopted. Within weeks, they became parents. The biological door they wanted to open was replaced with the adoption door that God had already prepared. Today, they have 3 adopted children and run a ministry supporting other adoptive families. These aren't fairy tales. These are real people who learned to trust God with their closed doors and who had the courage to walk through the doors He opened instead. Now here's where many people miss their blessing. God opens the door, but they don't walk through it. Why? Fear, doubt, unbelief, comfort in the familiar. God told the Israelites that He had given them the promised land. The door was open, but when they sent spies to check it out, 10 of the 12 came back with a bad report. Yes, the land was flowing with milk and honey, but there were giants there. There were fortified cities. There were obstacles. And because they focused on the obstacles instead of the open door, an entire generation missed their blessing. Don't let that be you. When God opens a door, you have to walk through it with faith, even if you can't see the entire staircase. You might only see the next step, but that's enough. God doesn't give you the full blueprint before you start walking. He gives you enough light for the next step, and as you step, more light appears. Walking through an open door requires courage. It requires you to leave behind what's comfortable and familiar. When God called Abraham, he said, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." That's terrifying, isn't it? Leave everything you know for a destination you haven't seen yet? But Abraham went, and he became the father of nations. When God calls you through an open door, he's not asking you to have all the answers. He's asking you to have faith in the one who does have them. He's asking you to trust him more than you trust your circumstances. He's asking you to believe his promises more than you believe your problems. And here's what happens when you walk through the open door. Provision meets you on the other side. You won't see the provision until you step through. That's how faith works. The Red Sea didn't part until the Israelites' feet touched the water. The walls of Jericho didn't fall until they marched around the city. The widow's oil didn't multiply until she started pouring. God is saying to someone right now, "I've opened the door. Now walk through it. I know you're scared. I know it doesn't make sense. I know you can't see the whole picture, but walk through it anyway." Your obedience is the key to unlocking the blessing on the other side.
6. No one can close it. Let's go back to that promise in Revelation 3:8. Jesus doesn't just say he's opened a door. He says it's a door that no one can shut. Think about the power in that statement. No enemy can close it. No hater can close it. No devil in hell can close it. No circumstance can close it. No bad economy can close it. No lack of education can close it. No past mistake can close it. When God opens a door for you, it doesn't matter who's against you. Remember what Romans 8:31 says. If God is for us, who can be against us? The answer is nobody that matters. People can oppose you, but they can't stop what God has ordained. Look at the life of Paul. They beat him, they imprisoned him, they shipwrecked him, they tried everything to shut him down. But God had opened a door for Paul to spread the gospel, and every attack just opened more doors. He wrote letters from prison that became scripture. He turned his trials into testimonies. He transformed his tests into teaching. What was meant to close doors for Paul actually opened more doors than he could have imagined. The same is true for you. The attacks you're facing aren't closing doors. They're exposing the people and things that needed to be removed from your path. The setbacks you're experiencing aren't ending your story. They're eliminating distractions so you can focus on the door God is opening. Stop giving power to people who were never supposed to have access to your future. Stop living in fear that someone can sabotage your destiny. If God has opened a door for you, it's open, period. Walk through it with confidence. Walk through it with your head held high. Walk through it knowing that you're backed by the God of the universe. So here's what I need you to understand today. You're not waiting for God to open a door. The door is already open. You might not see it clearly yet. You might not understand how all the pieces fit together. But God is moving on your behalf right now. That promotion is coming. That healing is manifesting. That relationship is being restored. That breakthrough you've been praying for is closer than you think. The door is open. God has gone before you and prepared the way. Your job now is to keep your faith strong, keep your worship loud, keep your prayers consistent, keep taking steps of obedience, keep developing your gifts, keep believing even when you can't see it yet. The enemy wants you to give up right before your breakthrough. He wants you to quit right before the door swings wide open. Don't give him that satisfaction. You've come too far to turn back now. You've been through too much to quit now. You've prayed too long to doubt now. God is opening a door that no one can close. Not your enemies, not your circumstances, not your past, not the devil himself. The door is open. Now walk through it. I declare over your life right now that doors are opening, doors of opportunity, doors of favor, doors of provision, doors of healing. Doors that have been closed are swinging open. Doors you didn't even know existed are becoming visible. And every door God opens for you, no one can shut. Receive that by faith, believe it in your spirit, and watch how God moves in your life. If this message encouraged you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your breakthrough is not canceled. It's just getting ready to manifest. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep walking forward. God is opening a door that no one can close, and that door has your name on it.